Well, the calendar says it's supposed to be springtime, but this is springtime in the Rockies. So it's still snowing outside. So I've still got a fire going, and we're supposed to be headed into the mid-60s through this week, and then maybe some snow again by the weekend. It's just the way it goes here in Montana. So last week I made the bars for this beater and the pegs that go in them. Well, I'd like to get them installed, and if you were watching the last video on building the door on the sheep wagon, you've noticed that I've got them put in. Well, I'm going to bring you through the process of how that all happened. Well, a number of you noticed last week when I was putting all these spikes in these bars that I had put them all the same. And I had looked at my old remnants, and I was kind of like you, thinking, well, maybe they should be staggered, but I couldn't see the evidence on the remnants of what I had. So I put them in like I did. Then I got to thinking, I need to introduce you to Jeff Marshall. Who is Jeff Marshall? When I started this whole project, I introduced this as a Smith Manufacturing manure spreader. And numbers of you went and looked up who is Smith Manufacturing. And you came across a site related to the Great Western manure spreader. This is a Jacob Haish, I think I'm pronouncing that name correct. Well, there was a picture of an original manure spreader on that page, and a number of different articles relating to the Smith Manufacturing and the Jacob Haish history and all that type of stuff, where I got a lot of my information, and a lot of you were able to find that as well. Well, there was an email contact on there from Jeff Marshall, care of Juno.com. Well, that Juno.com is a old email address, but I emailed him anyway to no response. So I began the process of rebuilding this manure spreader, even though I didn't get any response back from this Jeff Marshall. Well, I was into it probably a month or two, and lo and behold, I got an email from, guess who? Jeff Marshall. He said he was bouncing around YouTube and came across these video series, and he contacted me, which has been a great contact. We have been back and forth on some of the particulars. Well, Jeff relayed that he is, let's see, he said this Jacob Haish was his third great uncle. So he is a descendant of Jacob Haish, who was involved with this manure spreader. What a great contact. He has been willing to send me some pictures, and he is in the process of restoring to some degree, fixing up the manure spreader that he has, putting it back to some original colors, and that's where I've got this color from, and some other things that we'll reveal as we go into this process. But he sent me a picture after he had repainted his, and it's kind of from this angle. It's a really great shot of this whole beater assembly. So when I looked at these beater bars and drew the conclusion that I did, I got to thinking I need to go back and look at his. Well, I zoomed in on it, and I was seeing the same thing that I had seen on mine, 12 spikes on each bar. So I sent him an email, and I said, Jeff, if you have the time, could you count the spikes on the bars on your spreader? Well, I haven't got a response back. You know, he's a busy man as well. Well, I zoomed closer and closer, as close as I could get to where all I was seeing in this picture was these beaters. And then I finally saw it. And if you notice on that top bar, there are two spikes, one on the far right and one in the middle, that the spike is coming out of a nut. The one on the far right is the spike with the threads that is fastening it to the outside casting. And the middle spike also has a nut on it, so it is a threaded spike that attaches this center spike to this center ring. So then if I count from the far right spike coming out of a nut to that center one, if you count them, there are 7 spikes from the center spike to the far right. So there should also be 7 spikes counting the center spike to the left. That would make 13 spikes on that bar. Now, if you look at the one right underneath that, it doesn't have a spike coming out of the far left. It's actually a bolt that fastens it to that casting. And if you count clear across, you'll count 12 spikes. So these are alternating. There is one that has spikes that fasten it to the casting and to the center casting, and then the next bar down will be bolted to the casting. The next one would have a spike bolting it to the casting and continuing on around. So it allows 13 spikes on one bar, 12 spikes on the next bar, alternating clear around between all 8, which allows these spikes then to be offset like we thought they should. You picked up on it. I suspected it, but I couldn't see it till I finally saw it. So these 4 bars that bolt to the center ring, I'm going to remove those, remove the spikes, and I've built new bars, got them painted, and I'm going to change these out to where they have bolted spikes on both ends and the center that will alternate with the other 4 bars. So this center ring, out of the 8 bars, only has 4 locations that allow for a bar to be bolted to the center ring. There's 2 of them that are in the center, and then there's a casting that one goes right and one goes left. So 2 are centered and 2 are offset. So I have been emailing back and forth with Jeff Marshall, and I asked his permission to use his photographs and also to update you with a current email that he has at his suggestion. The Juno no longer works. I've included in the description his current email if you would like to touch base for whatever reason. He was open for that. And I just want to say thank you to Jeff if you happen to watch this. Your pictures have been a great help. I've got some other old pictures that he has sent that's going to be a factor in what I do down the road. But he has been a great asset, and he's direct line heritage to this Jacob Haish that built these. Isn't that cool? Anyway, appreciate you coming along. Thanks for watching.